All right, continuing conversation this morning. Bob France for Bill Wills on the fallout after the Supreme Court's healthcare ruling on Thursday. Joining us now, Congressman Jim Renacci for his weekly chat. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Bob. How are you?
Oh, I've been better, to be honest with you. I was really shocked when I heard that announcement made at 10 o'clock this past Thursday. Now that you've had the weekend to reflect upon it, what are your thoughts?
Well, Bob, everyone agrees that the healthcare status quo was not working. Costs were too high. Too many Americans were off coverage. But unfortunately, the president's proposed changes did not fix the problems in the healthcare industry. And we were assuming that the mandate would be repealed, like a lot of Americans were. But when Roberts moved the court's decision to call it a tax, it definitely changed things. But it is now law, and we're going to have to take a look at repealing that law because clearly Americans are not happy with it. Ohio's not happy with it. Ohio voted 66-34 last November to prevent the president's health care from taking effect, and that passed in all 88 counties. So we need to really work toward a repeal of this thing based on it being a tax.
Congressman Jim Renacci joining us. I've been spending some time this morning talking about sources close to the deliberations of the Supreme Court justices who say that after the arguments, or the oral arguments in March, Chief Justice Roberts was strongly with the other four justices who voted to strike down that individual mandate and, in fact, was writing the opinion and was preparing that for 6 weeks before he eventually changed his mind. What is it that you think that could have made the Chief Justice switch and go the other way?
I'm not sure. There's all kind of people out there saying that they wanted to keep civility within the court and within the left, and really, it comes down to the court made a decision. It is now law. I think Chief Justice Roberts summed it up best when he said in his decision, "It is not the court's job to protect the American people from the consequences of their political choices." And when I read the decision last week, that seemed to have struck most to me that, look, we have to make the political decisions that first the political decisions were made that put this law into effect. Now in November, we're going to have to make the political decisions to take this law and repeal it.
Congressman, you mentioned 66% of Ohioans wanted nothing to do with this. They didn't want it to take effect. And back in 2010, really people all over the country spoke because it was after the Obamacare legislation was passed by the democratically controlled House and Senate that the people came out to the polls in 2011 or 2010, and I think President Obama said the word shellacking, and really made the Democrats pay a heavy political price. Is that going to happen again this November?
Well, it's interesting, Bob. If there's one thing I have heard very clearly since this decision was made, not only with phone calls, letters, emails, people are fired up. They're not happy with this decision, and I think they are looking at November 6th as their chance to say they are not happy. And I'm going to be meeting with many people in the 16th District this week. This is our constituent work week. I'm going to be listening to them, but so far what I've heard is they are fired up. They are not happy, and this is going to be a 2010 election all over here.
Congressman Jim Renacci joining us on WTAM 1100. I know the Congressional Budget Office said that at least 75% of the individual mandate tax is going to fall on those making less than $250,000 a year. I just listened, though, to the Wall Street Journal's chief economic writer who calculated the same numbers and said it's actually going to fall. 75% of that's going to fall on those making less than $120,000, meaning it's going to hit the middle class right in the gut.
Hey, Bob, you know what? It's interesting. Over the weekend, I heard a lot of the political conversation and the left and many of the Democrats saying this is an attack, and they've always tried to spin it. But as a businessman for 28 years, it's pretty simple. The decision was made. This is a tax, and it is going to affect people that are making less than, as you said, $100,000, or as the CBO has said, less than $250,000 a year. Exactly what the president and many of the proponents of this bill said would not happen is now going to happen.
Well, let's hope that that there is a revisiting of the 2010 election cycle here in 2012, because like you say, that's about the only way to reverse this thing. Congressman Jim Renacci joining us for his weekly chat on Willis and Snyder. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Bob. You have a great week.
You too.